Okay, cowling's all back on, but you notice I didn't close the oil door, and I did that for a reason, because I want to leave a reminder that I haven't done a pre-flight yet. So I've done some maintenance. I've got to do a simple log entry. It can be anything. I just take a piece of paper, binder paper, whatever, write out my log entry. When I get home, I can put it in the logbook, or I can rewrite it in the logbook, however I want to do it. But every time you do maintenance, you have to do a log entry. So I get my log entry done. Then I'm going to do a pre-flight. So the way I do a pre-flight is I don't use a checklist to start. I just have a procedure. I've been doing it for a long time. I go around the aircraft. I think about the aircraft, look at what I'm looking at. I don't want to focus on a checklist, but then I go back to a checklist and I go through a checklist. Just the way I do it, it's almost a way of doing a pre-flight twice, but it's the way I like to do it. So I'll kind of walk you through what I do. All right, it's kind of hard for me to film myself and the airplane at the same time. I asked Katie to come, but she didn't want to. So anyway, where I start, I always like to start with my fuel. So my fuel caps are up here. There's 40 gallons each side, and I'm on a ladder right now, and this is as far up as I can get. So I can't really see in there. I suppose I could use a match or something. I'm just kidding, don't try that. But what I have here are these little fuel indicator sticks. It's a straw that's calibrated for this aircraft, and they're pretty cheap. So just put my finger over that, lift it up, take a look. Let me see, didn't get anything. There, 25 gallons. So I've got 25 out of 40 gallons. Seems a little, yep, 25. 25, I was gonna say, it seems a little low for the little bit I flew it, but I forgot, I actually flew it more than that. And for whatever reason, this aircraft really favors this wing as far as pulling fuel. So in a long cross-country flight, or, gotta push that all the way down. It's not quite right, it doesn't go down, there we go. All the way down and locked. There's a little vent. So anyway, I was saying this aircraft really favors this side over here, the left side. I think I said right a few times because it's on my right now. Like my industrial fan. It's hot in here. All right. So we'll check this one. So I had 25 gallons over there. Pulling it up. And 30 on this side. So 25 and 30. So I like to calculate. Easy math is 10 gallons per hour, so, and then leave yourself some room. So that's 50, 60 gallons. So I've got enough for at least for 6 hours, but if I want to be safe, reduce that by another hour and say I've got enough for, I lost my 5 hours. So, all right, so that's my little straw. Put that back over there. Hopefully I'm not making you sick running around. So I always start with the fuel. Back here's my fuel sample cup. And we're going to take a sample of fuel out of the wings. And what I'm looking for is make sure it's blue and that there's no water on the bottom. Now it's possible you could get an entire cup full of water and be fooled. So that's why you want to make sure that it's blue and it looks like fuel and it looks good. Now, what do you do with this fuel right here? I don't like to put it back in the aircraft. So I've got a little, might be a little noisy right here, but I got a little tug right here and it runs really good off of 100 low lead. So I just pour that in there. Check my other one. Looks really, really good. Pour that into my little tug, mostly. All right, and then inside of the cowling, I've got my oil level gauge and a pull, right there, there you go, fuel strainer drain. When I pull that, it's just gonna run all over the ground over there. So I don't like to do it very much. I kind of wish it was over on this side so I could take a sample. It's not on this side, so I can't take a sample. So I do that, put that away, put that away, and grab my towel. And we're gonna check the oil level. So this thing holds 12 quarts. 12 quarts. I'm gonna have to set this down to look at it. So 12 quarts, get out of the sun. Sorry, I'm at about 8.5. It loves to run right about 8.5 quarts. I'm trying to experiment, see how much I can put in there. And then, let me explain this a little more. So the sump is a 12 quart sump. but I've got a huge oil cooler and a very large oil filter. And those two things each themselves hold about a quart. So I put in, when I changed the oil, I put in 10 quarts. It showed 8 on the oil level gauge or dipstick. And right now when I'm checking it, I can see that I have just under 10 quarts. So let me run that by you again. I put 10 quarts in, and it was showing 8. I put in another quart yesterday. So for a total of 11 quarts, and it's showing now after sitting overnight, 10 quarts. So it's a good number to work with. Hey, something else too, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but this belly's got some oil on it. And that has kind of kept me awake at night. It's not terrible. You know, I flew it all the way back from Minnesota and only added a quart, and I didn't need to. Honestly, it stayed right at 8 quarts the whole way, and the guy I bought it from said, oh, no, leave it at 8. It'll always be at 8. Don't worry about it. And the engine's only got 70, 80 hours since major overhaul. So, but that oil leak's been keeping awake at night because, you know me, it's never something good. It's always, it must be a cracked cylinder or a cracked case. It's always worst case scenario. So while I was in there adjusting this stuff and I brought my mirror, I really gave it a hard inspect, and I found the leak to be a leaky tack seal. I don't think it could get any better for me. A tack seal should not be a difficult thing to change. So I just got to get there and change out leaky tack seal. That is probably the cheapest possible scenario. All right, so check the fuel. Fuel is good. Check the oil. Oil is good. I come back to the front of the airplane, and the first thing I want to do is check my propeller. Check it for any nicks, dings, scratches, anything that could cause any problems before we take off. We're in flight. Also, you want to give it a little back and forth. Make sure that the bearings in the hub have not given way. So it feels nice. Inspect the cowling area. Make sure that there's no bird's nest or anything. Well, I just had it off, so there's not. While I'm down here, check the nose. I just checked the tire pressure yesterday. Check inflation. Cow flaps look good. And then I'm going to just do a walk around. So windshield's in good condition. Actually, it needs to be changed. I'm not going to lie to you. Wing vents are clear and do not have any bugs in them. My pitot static, you saw me take the cover off. No bugs. This is a secondary, or actually tertiary, vent for the fuel. That looks good. Here is my stall warning. When the wind goes the wrong way, it's going to make a very, very loud horn. And honestly, I should have the master on and check that. I just checked it yesterday. I had it going off a lot as we did slow flight. Strut looks good. No cracks, dents, dings. Checking my tires. Again, I just checked the inflation on those. They're perfect. And do a walk around. The nice thing about being in a hangar is you don't have to worry about somebody hitting it. Of course, I got little paint scratches. See that crack right there? That's just Cessna does that. These ABS tips and all these ABS plastic parts, they tend to shrink over time and then crack. So it's an unfortunate thing. It's a static whip right there to discharge static. I want to feel and listen as I move my ailerons that they're okay. As an added bonus, you can look up in here. This is the counterweight that goes across, and nobody else is around, so I don't lose my finger because it's a nice shear. Check all the tails of the rivets or the shop heads, make sure they're all intact and I don't lose a weight. So some people drop their flaps. I do not on a pre-flight. That's just my choice. So check the wing, make sure that it looks good across, no dings, antennas are solid. Again, just looking to make sure, mostly at this point, that nobody has bumped the aircraft and caused any sort of hidden damage to it. And I've actually, unfortunately, witnessed more than one pilot hurt somebody else's aircraft and not fess up to it. All right, so what is this all about? This right here is just a funky way for me to hold the airplane from hitting the hangar door. Oops, let me show you. I was trying to undo this. Because I'm only about an inch or 2 inches away from the front of the spinner hitting the hangar door. So I put this here, and then I put this here to kind of help me make sure that I don't, make sure that if I happen to jump in the airplane and forget, that I don't knock that into the wall and have to buy a new rudder. That would make me very, very sad. So rudder's good. Not going to move it a whole lot because it's pretty well tied into the nose wheel. It's a heavy plane. So I'm going to check the play on my trim tab. Full stop. Make sure I hit the stops. Static whip. So I need a new static whip right there, but I got one here, so put it on the squawk list. So no dents, no dings. This rubber right here is an abrasion boot. It protects the leading edge from rock chips and stuff. So Look down the belly, I look down that, it looks good. Coming across, windows are intact, no trailing edge damage. Again, aileron, full stops, travel stop. And remember, this is a plane that I just flew yesterday, not that there's any excuses, but I know it. So I'm not worried about, hey, are the ailerons somehow misrigged or something like that? Are they going the wrong way? That's not where I'm at right now. It's just making sure that there's no damage or sudden wear, something that I was not aware of since the last time I flew it. There you see a little crack right there. So one of these videos I'll kind of work on repairing those with you guys. So trailing edge looks good. Wing strut, again, no bugs. These wasps are gonna fly out at me. Everything looks good. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to shut off the video and pay attention to what I'm doing without talking to you guys and walk around one more time, use my checklist, and while my head is 100% in pilot mode and not so much talking to you mode.